Hi, this is Jeffrey Kurt Financial Group, and today is Friday, June 27, 2025. Almost half the year gone. What a sprint it's been. Amazing time. So let's start with some headlines. Economic first. The PCE, the Personal Consumption Expenditure Index, which is an inflation index, came out today. This is the preferred measurement by the Federal Reserve as they gauge inflation. CPI is important, but this one's preferred by the Federal Reserve. So it came in a little bit stronger year over year. It came in line with expectations largely. Again, a little bit higher inflation, but I don't know if it's a material number. It's only 1 month as well. But it does give the Fed cover not to do anything. So, they aren't going to be, cutting rates, at the next meeting. Now, I think that, they can use this as an excuse, but there are so many other factors that go into the interest rate decision, and everybody claims that the Fed's independent, but it is a political being, and I think the dispute between Chairman Powell and President Trump factors into the decision. And I just think that is the behind the scenes thing. And so, it gives Powell cover with this kind of inflation number. Although I am seeing calls for and predictions for a possible cut in interest rates in September. We'll see what happens. Again, a lot of back and forth between the president and Chairman Powell. Next. China trade deal possibly being done. It's announced it's done, no details. And that's a big, uncertainty out of the way if in fact it's done. I mentioned on Wednesday that July 8th was like the deadline for these trade deals. This one's a huge, get it out of the way. That's an obstacle, economic obstacle, kind of put aside. Again, the uncertainty, the unknown. Goes away, and all these things perhaps leading to record highs in the stock indexes for the S&P. It's amazing that we've had all the geopolitical issues and bombings and the whole thing in the Middle East and Eastern Europe, and yet the stock market from the April lows has had an historic run. Can it keep going? I think it keeps going into the end of the month, which is Monday, and end of the quarter, because there's going to be manipulation to keep the prices, around that area for the quarterly statements that are going out as of June 30th. After that, we'll see. We've had a heck of a run. Yeah, the news is pretty good, but maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves, and some of the maybe a correction or pullback could be in the offing after the July 1, beginning of the new month and like that. So have a good weekend. Thank you for listening. We'll be back on Monday, and we'll talk to you then. Thank you again. Goodbye.